Super Swampers, take one.
Where's my chopping block?
That's at the house. Hey guys, what's going on? If you watched the last video that I put out on that little Fox body Mustang that I got, you'll know that the ZJ videos haven't been doing that good. So in order to speed things along, because I mean it's getting crunch time and I've been lazy and I haven't been working on this thing quite as much as I should have. From here on out, it's just going to be like a update type videos to let you know what's going on, what's been done and whatnot. So first thing you're going to see is that you're going to notice that all of the plastics have been removed. Rear bumper removed, that trailer hitch removed. And this past Friday I finally got tired of the shop just being a complete wreck, so I stopped what I was doing and did a cleanup, got everything all put together as far as my axles are concerned. You see my pile of dirt there that's on the floor because I can't fit it in the trash can because somebody needs to take the trash out. We've got new axle shafts down there, my knuckles, spindles, hubs, they're all down there, all good and cleaned up, ready to go. 538 gears and a setup kit for the front axle, 538 gears and a setup kit for the rear axle. This is a knuckle gusset kit from Taboo Customs. This is kingpin rebuild stuff for the Dana 60 front. What's in there? Yeah, that's the lower kingpins and these are the upper kingpins. Brake kit. The brakes that were on the axle, they were pretty bad. They had a lot of rust, but you know, that's just the way it is when you're dealing with old stuff like this. So anyway, I got a conversion kit from Lugnut 4x4 to bolt-on Chevy calipers, and there's the adapter brackets. The rotors are inside, plus I went ahead and got a new bearing kit and all for it. So I told myself whenever I was going to be building this axle right here that I was just going to do it cheap and on the fly. I was just going to put gears in it and a locker and call it a day. But as things go, it all needed to be rebuilt, and I'm just going to do it right anyway. So again, I mean, this is just what happens when you're messing with old axles. You guys out there that are buying the Super Duty stuff, you probably won't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But I mean, this is a 40-some-odd year old axle, so it's time for it to be rebuilt. And speaking of that, front axle is completely stripped. Got the ring and pinion completely out. Kingpin sets all torn down, axle shafts out. I did just stick the diff cover on it just so whenever I go to wash everything, I can wash the diff cover out too, because I'm just going to use the stock diff cover. It's not overly thick, so it might not get in the way of the steering, but at the same time it's a fairly thick cover to be a factory piece, say that. Also have new high steer arms and all the weld bungs and everything to build my custom steering. I'm going to actually be using tie rod ends for the steering for now, and also a bronze kingpin bushing conversion. And also from Revolution Gear, we've got a set of their chromoly axle shafts with 35 spline outers. And for cost savings right now, I'm just going to run drive slugs in the front. I would really like to have a set of the Yukon Hardcore locking hubs, but I just cannot pay $750 for a set of locking hubs, man. I don't care how good they are. And also from Barnes 4-wheel drive, we've got the pinion guard for the 14 bolt, set of coil buckets, and I'm pretty sure these are from Andy at Ironman 4x4 Fab, because I think they came with the cross member kit. That's the lower control arm brackets. I still need to order a link mount truss for that 14 bolt, because I bought this one from Ironman 4x4 Fab not realizing that it wasn't going to fit that axle, so I just kind of jumped the gun on that one. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but they are working on a 14 bolt link mount truss. I don't know if it's going to be done in time. I hope so. I'm going to resist ordering one from anybody else until I get to the point where I have to have it. And if they've got one, I'm going to get it from them. But if not, I'll probably just have to order it from Barnes or wherever. I hope they do though, because Andy's stuff is awesome. And underneath, we've got the Iron Man cross members. We've got the front cross member, rear cross member. For the rear is going to be a triangulated 4-link. The front is going to mimic the factory mounting points. And I don't know if I can do a 3-link with this or not. But anyway, right now it's just going to be 4-link long arms. And for all the control arms, I'm going to be running Heims because, well, I'm about broke, and that was the cheapest option to go with right now. I can't say enough about the quality of Andy's parts here at Iron Man 4x4 Fab. These things are super stout, very well built, very well thought out. There are the front upper control arm mounts for the Iron Man cross members. You can see that they'll just drop right out. They actually bolt on right here, and you can take them off, which makes it convenient for whenever you're trying to work on stuff, because it is getting kind of tight up in here. Also did the NP231 swap, which I did a video on that. The rear drive shaft is not here yet because I don't know exactly what I need yet as far as that's concerned. I do have the front drive shaft in. It's just the stock drive shaft, so at least this way it keeps it mobile. I can hop in it and, you know, move it out of the shop if need be. Now, as you'll see right here, the cross members are welded in, and they do provide everything you would need to drill and bolt this thing into your frame rails. But for me, that's a lot of holes, and I would not only be drilling through the frame rail, I'd also be drilling through these frame rail stiffeners as well. So I just elected to just make it permanent. And anybody wants to say, oh, you never get your transmission out now, this whole section right here drops out, so you'll be able to get the transmission out. And yeah, you'll have to take the transfer case off to get it out of there, but the transfer case bolts are actually easier to access with this crossmember kit from Iron Man than they were with that factory little thing there. So, hey, that makes things better. Now, I'd really like to get one of those steering box brace kits, but like I said a while ago, I'm running out of money. I think that's something that I really should do, because the uniframe rails on these things are kind of weak, and I'm going to be pushing some big old tires with it. So, and the tires we're running, they're 40 by 1350 17s, Swamper SX2s, but these are the sticky compound. You see it says competition use only. Now, I bought these off the Blim list. Some people might have had some issues out of them. I'm hoping not. We're going to try them out next weekend and see, because I'm really dying to see what these things will do. So, not on this, obviously, but we're going to try them out on a friend of mine's rig, because he's the only one that I know personally that's got an 8 on 6.5 inch bolt pattern. Everybody else is running Super Duty stuff. If you'll notice, that's a new wheel. We didn't start out that way. We started out with a set of these H2 wheels, and I was really hoping to use those, because I mean, I got them for a good deal from a buddy of mine. He gave me a really good price on them, and I've always liked the looks of those wheels, but it just was not in the cards for these tires anyway. I put out a short, I think last Saturday, of me airing up these SX2 stickies. One of them took 75 psi, the rest of them took 60. This one, this is the first one we tried to mount. This is the H2 wheel, and if you'll notice, it's off this bead right here. That's because we were trying to take the tire off of that wheel, and for the life of us, we just cannot get it off the back bead. So I'm probably just going to take it to a tire shop and let them deal with it. But the problem I was having with these, or this one rather, is that when I had it on the wheel, it would not seat the bead for anything. And you'd let the air out of it and the tire would just fall right off the beads. So that tells me that it wasn't seating. I mean, we were inflating it so much that the sidewall was actually touching the rim. So it looked like it was seated, but it just was not. So everybody kept saying, oh, you need to put more air in it. I even called Interco. They said, look, I can't tell you what to do. He said, but I can't tell you to go past the 65 PSI mark that's on the sidewall of the tire. So after I got one tire mounted on one of these black wheels, I said, all right, well, at least we know now that they will seat. So I tried this one again, and I tried and tried and tried. It just would not seat. We got up to 90 PSI on this tire. It would not seat. I called it. I said, somebody's about to get hurt here. So get that now. It doesn't want to seat on the wheel, and we can't take it off. And before anybody in the comments says, oh, you need to put tire lube on it, trust me, we were using the tire lube. We put way more on there than I've ever had to put on any tire, and it still would not seat the bead. So they're just a lost cause on these H2 wheels. Maybe a DOT tire might fit on them better, but as for my personal experience, these stickies, they weren't going to go on there. And we tried all the tricks. We tried airing them up, setting them out in the sun, see if they'll pop a bead. Would not pop the bead. Air it up, hit the sidewall with a hammer, see if it'll pop the bead. Would not pop the bead. Overpressurize it. We tried that. Didn't pop a bead. So I tried to do everything that I knew to do as far as tricks to get a bead to seat, but they just weren't seating, guys. I mean, if I went and spent another $400 on a set of wheels, I really did try to get the tires to seat on that H2 wheel, and it just wasn't happening. So anyway, so I got steel wheels now, so at least later on I can buy some weld-on bead locks for them. And I will be running the Ford knuckles for the axle. I just didn't want to buy new ones. And Dave over at Taboo Customs, he makes a weld-on strengthening kit for them that I will be installing on them, because everybody says that the Ford knuckles are the weakest of them all. So maybe that'll help me make them survive. And on the front here we have a winch mount that I fabricated. I did buy these brackets from Affordable Off-Road. Yeah, I mean, I could have made those, you know, they're not that hard, but for what that guy sells this stuff for, I mean, it would have been silly for me to spend half a day in here making those two brackets and going and buying the bolts and everything when I can just buy those and they just go right on. So there that is. It's made out of a piece of 2x4 steel tube and 1.5 inch steel tube, and it's got a nice strong skid plate under it made out of 1/4 inch. And this is an old worn 8274. I've had this winch forever, and they're great winches. They're fast. They got a fast line speed. They're strong, but my goodness, they're expensive when you try to buy one new. So that's why I've got one that was made in the 80s because it came on another Jeep that I bought, and before I sold it, I took it off. Oh, and the last place I used this, I had it bolted to my trailer, which is why it's got this great big meat hook on it. So that thing's pulled me in a car up onto that trailer. And I've got the winch tucked back as tight as it'll go for right now, but I do think I'm going to cut some of this plastic out. I'm going to probably have to relocate the transmission cooler. I don't have AC, so I can get rid of the evaporator core, move all this stuff back. I would like to get the winch pushed back as far as I can. The roller fair lead and steel cable, my plan right now is to make those go away and go with the synthetic setup, and that'll have a lot lower profile aluminum Hoss fair lead. But I still would like to get it pushed back as far as possible to keep it from chewing that fair lead up whenever I come up to an obstacle. But but you can see right here it's pushed back as far as it'll go right there, but with a little trim, and I think I can get another maybe another 2 inches. Who knows? Well, maybe not, because we're a little close there. I didn't see that a while ago. So maybe an inch. Also, if you'll notice on the fenders, on all 4 corners, I've got the axle center line marked. And I also went and I measured each individual coil spring for length when it's just at static ride height. And with this, I'll know where the stock axle was. I'm going to try to push the front axle forward a couple of inches. I really can't get crazy with it because I'm going to keep a steering box for now. And in the back, I'll probably push it back a couple of inches as well. The reason why I marked how long the coil springs were, so when I positioned the new axles under the Jeep and get them where I wanted, I know that I'm going to probably cut these fenders maybe up to here and down, and I don't know how much I'm going to be able to cut back here because it gets into the door. I mean, I'm not really worried about saving the door, but I mean, anyway, it would be nice to just be able to cut it out to right there and be done with it. Just cut all of that all the way back to there, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it takes a lot of cutting for 40s, but anyway, so that way I can kind of get an idea of how long the new spring should be. So let's just say this is 11.5 inches. Now, if I'm measuring the new height from where it's sitting, and let's just say it's 16 inches, that means that I'll probably need a 5-inch coil, which is probably conservative. I'm probably going to wind up needing the 7-inch coils, but who knows. This is my first time building a ZJ, so I'm in new territory here. Tune in next time to see what I've done, which probably won't be much because I'm lazy. But anyway, hey, seriously though, thanks for watching, and thanks for everybody that's been subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. See you next time.